Hello and welcome to the Golden Goal podcast. We're back with number 9.
With number 9, do you want to introduce who this team is?
Yeah, we sort of teased this in the Everton one, didn't we?
We said that they're very similar, as we feel that they're going to be kind of the same level. The only reason why we put this team as lower than Everton is because of their Europa League football they'll be playing this season.
Well, if they get through the qualifiers.
Because they're currently playing that at the moment. And that is, of course, West Ham.
West Ham. Well, what can we say?
Well, they had a fantastic season last season,
They
didn't
did.
they, under Bilic? Because a lot of people were a bit like, this could go either way, because he's a crazy manager who wears his heart on his sleeve. This could either be like, they'll either be near relegation. He's done a lot of unknown players, such as Lindo Payet, and it all worked out.
It worked out.
And to be honest, they finished 7th last season.
Yes.
They probably played better than Southampton overall.
Yeah, probably.
They just tailed off at near the end of the season. I remember there was a time where Man United were playing West Ham, and I thought, Jesus Christ, they were flirting with top 4 for a long time during the duration of the season. But yeah, I think they're going to have another good season. I just think with the Europa League, that's going to have implications on their final standing.
Well, it's also because Bilic has them playing such high energy football.
Yeah, so a lot of players are going to suffer from fatigue.
Yeah, and you have players that, of course, have been to the Euros and whatever, so they've not even had like a full summer to recover. I mean, to be honest, Mark Noble, we said this during the England rant, didn't we? That Mark Noble should have gone to the Euros, but he didn't in the end, which probably would be good for West Ham.
Especially as they had like Payet playing up until the final. So.
Yeah, true.
Talking of Payet, that is one of the positives. They managed to somehow keep him when he scored 12 goals and created 13 last season. And he's going to be the sort of player that is going to attract these other potential stars they want to buy.
I'd say so, yeah. I mean, it's going to go one or two ways with Payet, I think. It's either going to be sort of like with Van Persie, where he stayed for a bit longer than he wanted to, but then it was like, right, okay, now I'm going. Or it's going to be like, yeah, as you say, players will then come in because they're like, oh, I want to go play with Payet.
And they've been trying to attract a lot of players this season.
They've
been very ambitious.
Tried to sign Lacazette, didn't they?
Although you could like flip that on negatives, as it's a bit of a wake up call. It's a bit like, yeah, you're not good enough to attract these star players. Just yet.
Exactly. I mean, it's interesting because like with West Ham, I've always kind of thought of them like that. I've always kind of thought of them as punching above their weight and trying to go for players that are a bit too good for them.
But sometimes it pulls off. Think Mascherano.
Javier Mascherano.
Carlos Tevez.
Andy Carroll.
Don't think Andy Carroll. Although I will come on to him later.
Yeah, I mean they've just kept key players in their team. It's a bit like Leicester. Like they haven't lost. I mean, it's probably better than Leicester because they haven't lost any key components at all.
And I think like the young players, they just have a lot of respect for Bilic as well.
You'd think so,
because he's a young manager. He's still young. He's still very exciting.
Do you know what? He seems really charismatic. Which when you go like, oh, he's a bit of a crazy manager. He's very level-headed for someone who's supposedly quite crazy.
And he has the respect of the fans.
Yes.
And that's the main thing. He's always had a good relationship. He's a bit of a laugh, isn't he?
Well, he was respected by the fans when he was a player for West Ham.
So they've kind of got that kind of like...
They've got that connection.
It's like family kind of thing.
Yeah.
We can't have this podcast on West Ham without mentioning their moving of stadiums from the Cauldron that was Upton Park to the Olympic Stadium. This could be a double-edged sword again because it could have many positives and many negatives. Should we talk about Upton Park and the atmosphere, which I think was epitomised when Manchester United went to go and play and the fans went a bit crazy and they were chucking stones and they were chucking rocks at the bus.
Yeah.
And they were ripping up the stadium. But there's no denying that place was a cauldron. It was
scary.
It was a scary, intimidating place for players to go. I read like Dave Beckham's autobiography. I think it was Dave Beckham's, one of the Manchester United players, and they said that West Ham used to give them the fans used to give them an unbelievable amount of stick.
Yeah.
Like, they were lethal. They were a scary, intimidating 12th man. And you know, like how the pitch is very narrow, the fans are so close up and personal and in the players' faces, and they could miss out on that at all. But I think to be a big club and have the ambitions they want, moving to the Olympic Stadium, which is 60,000 seats, do you think they're going to lose the atmosphere? Do you think it's jeopardised?
Yes, I think they will. Because do you know what this really stinks of Arsenal's situation?
Yeah, which we mentioned in our Arsenal podcast.
In our Arsenal preview. I mean, I have a funny feeling that what's going to end up happening is that, I mean, they haven't just been given the Olympic Stadium, have they? I assume they've got to pay rent for it because it's being rented off
for 99 years.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, they're still paying for this stadium, which means that you might get the situation that Arsenal had, where it was sort of like, oh, we're paying for this new stadium. Sorry, we can't give Payet a new contract. Or like, oh, we're paying for the stadium, so we can't pay this money for this player or this player. And do you know what? That is going to be one of those situations where you're going to have a team with a massive stadium down in the lower ends of the Premier League table.
But I guess what I'd argue is that Arsenal was still able to attract those players. You could argue that it was the board that were less likely. The board were very stingy. I think West Ham do have the foundation set up, a bit like how we mentioned Everton, is the fact that it's an attractive area in London. And it's
not West Ham, not the area.
It's near like the Stansted.
Oh, it's near like
It's near like it's the up and coming area.
True. I mean, yeah, but I suppose I'm thinking of West Ham, the area.
It's near to Stansted. It's near, so it's accessible to the old hardcore fans. And it's near the modern part of London.
True.
And being a London club as well, it's going to be attractive to players.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes, because it's like when Arsenal moved to Emirates, it was either going to go one or two ways, and unfortunately for them, it went the wrong way.
I mean, I don't know whether you saw this thing on Arsenal Fan TV where they were like, look, the board came out and said, oh, we need to move here to compete with the top clubs, and then they moved here, and they're further from the top clubs than when they were at Highbury. They were like, fucking move us back to Highbury then. What's the point of being here when we're paying so much for tickets? And I have a funny feeling this is the way that West Ham are going to go, because West Ham were told exactly the same thing. They were like, this stadium is going to help us compete with the top clubs. No, I'm not sure.
You can't deny the club is being ambitious and they're taking a risk, and I like to see that.
Well, I like that they're taking a risk. I just almost think that if they were at a ground that wasn't Upton Park, I would say yeah. But it's the fact that you're gambling with that really important 12th man that they had. I think that's really important for West Ham.
Yeah, so it's both a positive and a negative. It's a gamble.
Yeah,
I know you're not. I'm thinking maybe this could be the foundations for something quite special, but I know that you're like, the atmosphere, jeopardising the atmosphere is never good.
No, I think it's, because thing is, when you have something like the Nou Camp, I mean, the Nou Camp has a fantastic stadium, and so does the Signal Iduna Park, which is Dortmund's stadium. But the difference with that is that you don't have. Basically, I know that this is going to be really boring. This is a really boring topic to talk about in a fucking football podcast. But it's prices. It's football prices, because I'm like, football, to go to football in England is so expensive, and like, especially when you're going to an amazing stadium like the Olympic Stadium, it's going to be super expensive. And what I'm assuming is that, I don't know about you, the majority of West Ham fans don't exactly seem like they have the money to be swooping at like $1,000 on a season ticket.
It's just ridiculous. Like, but then and that's what I'm saying. Is it going to really is it going to isolate those hardcore fans?
Do you know what?
The ones you talk about. Like,
this is the thing. Like, I think that you're thinking of this on the positive end, whereas I'm thinking of this on the negative end.
So I put it down as a positive and a negative.
And a negative. See, I've got a massive question mark beside it. I don't think that I'm reluctant to think that it's going to be a good thing.
But do you think, like, in general, as more and more, I reckon within the next 10 years, there's going to be certain clubs like Everton are moving, and clubs, I reckon, like clubs like West Brom will start following suit, and Southampton. Do you reckon as time goes on, just generally the atmosphere in football is going to decline?
Yes.
And it's going to become less of like a working class kind of like
Well, football's already being stolen from us by fucking Sky and BT. What's next? Like they're gonna take the stadium atmosphere from us, probably. Like it's just this is like, for me, it's almost the beginning of the end. Like seeing the decline. Well, for Highbury was the beginning of the end, and then you had Stamford Bridge, because Stamford Bridge used to be a lot smaller, didn't it?
Yeah.
Before they expanded it, and then they expanded it and it got a bit shit. And then you have Everton thinking about moving. I mean, that'd be sad to see Goodison Park not be a stadium anymore.
It's just these big traditional stadiums from big traditional clubs.
Yeah.
But West Ham are really well supported throughout London.
True. And outside of London.
Yeah. So maybe we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how that goes.
Talking about on the pitch, I do think they've got a very strong midfield,
which they've also strengthened.
Yeah, with is it
Nordveit,
who will like provide competition for Noble.
Yes, and Kouyaté.
So you've got that midfield. You've got the heart of the squad. A lot of it's always been midfield dominated with West Ham as well. I mean, Mark Noble as well. Just what an asset to the club he is.
Oh yeah, he's. I mean, we said I can't believe he didn't go to the Euros for England. Like he was by far, I would say, probably only second to N'Golo Kante, the most hard-working midfielder in the Premier League last season.
And it's good that his hard work. He's one of those captains that leads by example as well.
Yes.
So his hard work, his dedication will hopefully kind of like flood out to the remainder of the team. And another one is like what I liked. I've read this statistic, really interesting actually. I don't know, statistics don't show everything, but they recovered 17 points from losing positions last season. It shows that they've got fight, determination, and drive, which I think stems from the manager.
17 points from losing positions.
17.
That's impressive.
More than any other team in the league.
That's impressive.
So they've got to fight. They score goals.
That's like 7 games. That's like rough 6 or 7 games.
Yeah.
Probably more actually.
Just under 6 wins.
Wow.
That's a big. That's the difference from them coming where they came 7th to being like a kind of 13th, 14th position.
Yeah.
So it shows that they just don't give up.
Yeah, that is really important.
And teams that don't put their heads down when they're playing football and keep going to the final whistle are hard teams to beat. They're grafters, definitely.
I think they have made some decent signings. I agree with you before, but I'm going to save my thoughts on that for players to watch, because there is one that I would say definitely a player to watch. But I mean, I've kind of talked. If we go on to weaknesses, I've kind of talking about this stadium before.
Yeah, the stadium's
like the stadium could really dampen things. I think another thing that really is gonna fuck up it's very similar to Leicester.
Yeah.
I think their fans' expectations could really fuck them up.
Yeah, I think they have got too high expectations at the moment.
Because West Ham fans, I almost feel like they're almost similar to Liverpool fans, or like a certain group of Liverpool fans.
They have this like idea of the West Ham way. What is the West Ham way?
What is the West Ham way? Like that doesn't exist. It's nothing. It's arrogance of like, we're West Ham, therefore we should be doing well.
Yeah, and I think like it's like the club. I mean, the club has been known to be arrogant. I mean, the fact that they went to try and sign Lacazette and other players and got rejected just shows that they have this ambition, they have this arrogance of where they feel they should be, but they need to start giving evidence for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's been years and years since they last won
anything.
Something.
I mean, they've been relegated more recently than they won anything. So I don't know, like it's like I think the pressure might get to them because then again you had the underdog thing before
Yeah.
because you had West Ham sort of like, oh, they're just sort of like a mid-table
Well,
club.
they've only been out for 4 seasons. It's only their 4th season in the league.
Exactly. So you still have that kind of underdog kind of feeling, but I think that now, especially because they're moving stadium, you can't really have that underdog feeling with West Ham anymore.
And also, like, going on about what worries me is, like, not only that is the fact that they've got this Europa League distraction, and they've got
I
quite a
said
slim
that as
squad,
well.
and it's like they've got quite an injury-prone squad as well,
Yes.
especially with Carroll.
Oh yeah, he's an absolute nightmare.
He's one of those players that I reckon could have actually been potential to be very good. Because he
Yeah,
had his own
definitely.
identity, definitely, as being that big target man, unlike any other player in England.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the only player really that I can think who's even vaguely similar is Graziano Pella, and that's the only one. Like, I mean, yeah, that's it. That's it.
Did you know what I said as a
Oh gosh.
as also like just talking about like Andy Carroll and those English boys, and I should have put this on as strengths, is the fact that I think a lot of the team are English,
Yeah.
and they've had Sam Allardyce as a previous manager. I think they're going to be looking at this season thinking, rather than their hands thinking, we've actually got a chance to play for England. Do you not think with Noble and Carroll
Yeah.
and players like that?
That would be cool.
So I think, yeah, they've got a lot to aim for this season. But again, that links to the whole pressure thing with the Europa League. And even Slaven Bilic was saying, I know our place in the league may be sacrificed because we want to do well in Europe. So it's almost as if he's like more excited about the prospects of playing Europa League football than the Premier League, which is very unusual for a Premier League team.
That's very unusual. I mean,
think about money and stuff.
I'm not sure how well that's going to go because the thing is with Europa League is that you don't really get, because with Champions League football you get money for just playing games.
Yeah.
Europa League, the money that you get for Premier League teams is minuscule.
Yeah.
It's like a drop in the ocean, which for teams, if you're like Malmo from the Swedish league or whatever, playing in the Europa League is great because you get extra money. But like for Premier League teams, it's nothing.
Whereas finishing high up in the table in the Premier League, you get
Exactly
substantial amounts more.
And also, it's also a case of like, if you win, the only time you actually get a prize worth winning for Premier League teams in the Europa League is if you win it, because then you get an automatic Champions League place. Which, like, I have to admit, it'd be so funny if we were wrong and Arsenal came fourth and then West Ham won the Europa League and finished outside of the European spots.
Oh wow.
That would be the funniest fucking thing.
I can just imagine just Bilic just being like up for every single game.
Up for every game.
I think they're a bit like a Liverpool kind of thing. I think they're going to do well in the cups this season, but not as well in the league.
They seem more like a cup team, don't
this
they?
season, especially as what Bilic has been saying in his press conferences and stuff.
It's almost like the stadium, like it's a gamble, but I'm not sure if it's a gamble worth taking.
I mean, it's one of those ones where you just don't know.
Yeah, true.
And it's going to be exciting. I think West Ham are actually another exciting team to watch this season.
Probably.
A lot of the teams have been really exciting.
It's an interesting team, at least. Should we chat a bit about Bilic?
Yeah.
While we're on the subject. I really like him.
I really love him. I think he is perfect for West Ham. He's fiery, like the fans, like the club. He's arrogant, like the fans, like the club. He's attacking minded. He's started to play like more counter-attacking football that West Ham haven't seen, which is supposedly the West Ham way. But yeah, I just think he had a really good maiden season. I think there's a lot of question marks over him, but he has proved himself a bit on both an international, because he had a good time under Croatia.
Well, he knocked England.
Where he knocked England out. On international and league level.
Yeah.
And I think he's still fairly young. He must only be in his mid to late 40s.
Yeah, only late 40s, I think.
So he's still got a lot of potential to kind of like
grow as
be
a
long
manager.
term. I can see him being there for a long time.
I hope so.
I think for their sake it'll be good. And like you said, like he's got that relationship with the fans from being a player there.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of those guys where I'm just sort of like, I'm glad that you're in the Premier League. Like I wouldn't like to see you get fired by West Ham and leave.
No.
Because, like, it's weird. I don't know whether you find this. Do you remember me telling you a couple of years ago, the year after Chelsea won the league under Mourinho, and I was like, I'm so disenchanted with football. It's just not exciting anymore or anything.
Yeah.
You've got, now it's great because you've got Ranieri, Bilic, Guardiola, Mourinho, Klopp, Wenger's still there, Koeman, Claudio Puel, and you've just got all these interesting managers.
And the majority of them are young and fiery.
Yeah,
well.
exactly. Eddie Howe's mixed in there as well with Alan Pardew.
It's almost as if like there's a breath of fresh air.
It feels like that. It really feels like that. Because it started to feel really stale.
Well, we all knew he was going to win every year. And the team would always win by like a ridiculous amount of points as well. And be pretty much wrapped up by Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
And I forgot the last time there was more than two teams challenging at one point. Think about it. 2013, Man United and Chelsea. 2014, Man United and City. 2015, Chelsea pretty much wrapped up. And then 2016, it was like Leicester, Tottenham, Arsenal. And then this season, I reckon, like we said, that it could be one of four teams that could potentially really win it.
Possibly even five.
Possibly even five.
Depends on how well Liverpool
adjust.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it's exciting, and I think he's one of the new faces to this Premier League that are bringing this excitement.
Yeah, and I'm happy that he's here.
Who's your player to watch then?
Right, I was going to talk about the sign-ins. I'm really happy that I get to see this guy play in the Premier League because I've been a big fan of his for a long time. I'm talking about Soufiane Feghouli.
Yeah.
I love Soufiane Feghouli. I think he's fantastic. He signed on a free from Valencia, and he's just spectacular as a winger. He's really he can do everything. He's decent at a crossing. He's got a decent cross on him. He can run. He's good with the ball. He can score goals. Genuinely, last season he was one of Valencia's key players. And he just didn't stay because Valencia are in absolute turmoil. But, I mean, I'm so excited to see him play in the Premier League. And I'm not sure how he'll adjust. But if he adjusts well, he will tear teams apart. He will tear teams apart. Who's your player to watch?
See, mine's boring compared to yours. I said Andy Carroll. Only because he's finished the seasons exceptionally.
Yeah, true.
He scored a hat-trick against Arsenal. I saw him interviewed, and he was talking about how he's now about 27. He's 27 years old. How he feels like he hasn't really reached his potential, and that he's had this massive wake-up call. I also think he's looking at... Yeah, I was also thinking, he seems to acknowledge that he's worked under par. He seems to have been working a lot on his fitness, because there's a lot about him being overweight. So, yeah, just the fact that he finished last season. Also the fact that Sam Allardyce is the England manager.
That probably
and
gave
I think
him
it's spurring him on.
Shake.
Yeah, thinking, wow, this man, he liked me as a player at my club, so I'm going to prove to him that I can play on an international stage, and he's the one making decisions, so I've got to adjust my performances accordingly. I've got to wake up, because it's not too late for him.
No, and to be fair, Andy Carroll probably would have been a good option to have taken to the Euros anyway.
Exactly, and he does play, he played for Sam Allardyce, but it will fit in well in a Sam Allardyce team.
Yeah, I think so.
Big, strong, and is a good plan B for any team.
A proper target man.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's about wrapping everything up. Can we just, if you please could just comment whether you think the Olympic Stadium, you'd put it down as a positive thing for the future of West Ham or a negative thing?
Yeah,
Let's just handle this debate.
Say who you agree with. So, do you agree with Ollie that it's going to be a positive thing
long term?
Or me that it's going to be a negative thing?
The pessimist over here and the optimist.
All right, well, I think that's it. Leave a like and leave a comment with anything about West Ham. We want to hear, to be fair, we want to hear thoughts about West Ham. Because we haven't heard anything from West Ham fans, really.
No, not yet.
So, We want to hear their thoughts on this season and the stadium, to be fair, because that's going to be really
It's
interesting.
an interesting talking point.
And subscribe if you want to hear more football content. We'll be back with 10th place. We're going to hit the midpoint. And this is probably going to be where all the positivity about teams stops.
Yeah, and then we'll be like, that's safe to say that. Anyway, we'll see you later.
All right, we'll see you guys later. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.